Daniel woke up to the sound of his bedroom door opening. It was past midnight, and he lived alone in his small apartment. His heart started racing as he sat up in bed, trying to see who was there in the darkness. The hallway light behind the figure made it hard to see clearly at first. Then he recognized her. It was Maya, his neighbor from the apartment next door. They had been friendly for months now, always chatting in the hallway or at the mailboxes. She was kind and always had a warm smile. But something was different tonight. Her eyes looked red, like she had been crying for hours. Before Daniel could say anything, Maya stepped inside and closed the door behind her. She was wearing a bathrobe, and her hands were shaking. Daniel reached over and turned on his bedside lamp. That's when he saw her face properly. There was a bruise forming near her cheek, and her lip was slightly swollen. "Maya, what happened?" Daniel asked, his voice filled with concern. He grabbed a blanket from his chair and wrapped it around her shoulders. Maya just stood there for a moment, tears streaming down her face. She tried to speak but couldn't find the words. Daniel guided her to sit on the edge of his bed while he pulled up a chair to sit across from her. He didn't want to crowd her or make her uncomfortable. "Take your time," Daniel said softly. "You're safe here. Do you need me to call someone? The police? An ambulance?" Maya shook her head quickly. "No, please. No police. Not yet. I couldn't stay there anymore. I didn't know where else to go." Daniel knew that Maya was married. Her husband Robert worked night shifts sometimes, but Daniel had seen him around during the day too. Robert always seemed quiet, maybe a bit distant, but Daniel never thought much about it. Neighbors kept to themselves mostly. "Did Robert do this to you?" Daniel asked gently, already knowing the answer but needing to hear it from her. Maya nodded, fresh tears falling. "We had a fight. It started over something small, something stupid. I forgot to pick up his prescription from the pharmacy. He got so angry. He's been stressed about work, and I know he's been drinking more lately. But tonight was different. Tonight, he really hurt me." Daniel felt anger rising in his chest, but he kept his voice calm. "You did the right thing by leaving. You can stay here tonight. We'll figure out what to do in the morning." Maya looked at him with such gratitude in her eyes. "I'm sorry for just barging in like this. I know it's inappropriate, showing up at your door in the middle of the night. But I heard you come home from work earlier, and I knew you were alone. I couldn't think of anyone else." "When? Don't apologize," Daniel said firmly. "I'm glad you felt safe enough to come here. That takes courage." The truth was, Daniel had noticed Maya more than he probably should have over the past few months. She was beautiful, yes, but it was more than that. She had this gentle way about her, always asking how his day was, always remembering little details he had mentioned in passing. He had pushed those feelings down because she was married, and he respected that boundary completely. But now, seeing her hurt and vulnerable, all he felt was protective. This wasn't about attraction anymore. This was about a human being who needed help. "Let me get you some water and maybe something for that bruise," Daniel said, standing up. He went to his small kitchen and grabbed a bottle of water from the fridge. He wrapped some ice cubes in a clean kitchen towel and brought both back to the bedroom. Maya accepted the water gratefully and took small sips. Daniel handed her the ice pack, and she held it gently against her cheek, wincing at first from the cold. "How long has this been going on?" Daniel asked, sitting back down. Maya looked down at her hands. "It started small about a year ago, just yelling at first, then pushing. Tonight was the first time he actually hit me in the face. I've had bruises before, but always where they couldn't be seen. I made excuses to myself. I thought maybe if I tried harder, did things better, he would go back to being the man I married." Daniel listened, his heart breaking for her. He had heard these stories before, read about them online, But experiencing it with someone he actually knew was different. It felt more real, more urgent. "You know that's not your fault, right?" Daniel said. "Nothing you did or didn't do caused this. This is about his choices, his actions." Maya nodded, but Daniel could tell she didn't fully believe it yet. That kind of thinking takes time to unlearn. They sat in silence for a few minutes. Daniel's apartment suddenly felt very small with the weight of everything that was happening. He wondered if Robert would come looking for her. Would he knock on doors? Would he cause a scene? "Does Robert know you're here?" Daniel asked. "No," Maya said. "He went into the bedroom to cool off after. After it happened, I heard him open another beer. I grabbed my phone and my keys and just ran out. I don't think he even heard me leave." Daniel felt relieved but also worried. "He'll notice eventually." "What do you want to do?" Maya looked lost. "I don't know. I can't go back there tonight. Maybe not ever. But all my things are there. My clothes, my documents, everything. We can deal with that tomorrow," Daniel assured her. "Right now, you need to rest. You need to feel safe." Daniel stood up and grabbed his extra pillow from the closet. "You can sleep in my bed. I'll take the couch in the living room. The door locks from the inside, so you'll have privacy." Maya looked like she wanted to protest, but she was too exhausted. "Thank you, Daniel. I don't know how I'll ever repay you for this." "You don't need to repay anything," Daniel said. "Just rest. We'll figure everything out in the morning." He left the room and closed the door behind him, giving Maya the space and security she needed. He went to the living room and lay down on his couch. But sleep didn't come easily. His mind raced with questions and concerns. What would happen when Robert realized Maya was gone? What would the neighbors think? More importantly, what would Maya decide to do? Daniel stared at the ceiling, listening to the quiet sounds of the night. Somewhere in the distance, a car alarm went off. A dog barked. Life continued as normal for everyone else, but for Maya, and for him, everything had changed in the span of one night. He thought about his own past, his own failed relationship years ago. It hadn't been anything like what Maya was going through. But he remembered the pain of realizing someone wasn't who you thought they were. He remembered the difficulty of starting over. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, difficult conversations, and hard decisions. But tonight, at least Maya was safe. And that was enough for now. Daniel woke up to the smell of coffee. For a confused moment, he forgot where he was and why he was sleeping on his couch. Then, everything from the night before came rushing back. He sat up quickly, his neck stiff from the awkward sleeping position. He walked toward the kitchen and found Maya standing there, still wearing her bathrobe with his blanket wrapped around her shoulders. She had found his coffee maker and was pouring herself a cup. "Good morning," Daniel said softly, not wanting to startle her. "How are you feeling?" Maya turned to face him, and in the morning light, the bruise on her face looked worse than it had at night. The purple and blue had spread, and her eye was slightly swollen. "I'm okay," she said, but her voice was small. "I hope you don't mind that I made coffee. I couldn't sleep much, and I didn't want to just sit in the dark." "Of course I don't mind," Daniel said, grabbing a mug from the cabinet. "Did you get any rest at all?" "A little," Maya admitted. "Every time I started to fall asleep, I would hear noises and think it was Robert at the door." Daniel poured himself coffee and leaned against the counter. "We need to talk about what happens next. Have you thought about what you want to do?" One, 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 one. Maya wrapped both hands around her coffee mug, seeking its warmth. "I've been thinking about nothing else. I need to leave him, Daniel. I see that now. Last night made it clear. But I'm scared. I don't have my own money. The bank account is in his name. I haven't worked in 3 years because Robert said I should focus on taking care of the home. This was exactly the kind of situation Daniel had read about. How people get trapped, not just emotionally, but financially too. Do you have family you can stay with? Maya shook her head. My parents passed away when I was young. I have a sister, but she lives across the country. We haven't spoken much since I got married. Robert didn't like her, so I gradually lost touch with her. Another red flag, Daniel thought. Isolation. That's what these situations always involved. Cut someone off from their support system. Make them dependent. And then they feel like they have no way out. What about friends? Daniel asked. I had friends, Maya said quietly. But over time, Robert would find reasons why I shouldn't see them. They were bad influences, or they didn't understand our relationship, or they were trying to turn me against him. Eventually, it was easier to just stop reaching out. Daniel felt anger rising again, but he kept it in check. Getting angry wouldn't help Maya right now. Okay, here's what I think we should do. There are organizations that help people in situations like yours. They can provide temporary housing, legal advice, and help you get back on your feet. I can look up some numbers, and we can make some calls. Maya looked uncertain. What if Robert finds out? What if he comes after me? Maya. That's why we need to involve professionals, Daniel explained. They know how to handle these situations safely. They can help you get a restraining order, if needed. Just then, Daniel's phone buzzed on the coffee table. He walked over and picked it up. His best friend Carlos had sent him a text message asking if he wanted to grab breakfast. Daniel quickly typed back that something had come up and he couldn't make it today. Maya noticed his expression. You can go if you need to. I don't want to disrupt your whole life. Quote, You're not disrupting anything, Daniel said firmly. Carlos can wait. This is more important. But Maya's comment made Daniel think. Carlos would definitely have opinions about this situation. He was always the practical one, always thinking 3 steps ahead. Daniel wondered what he would say if he knew Maya was here. I should probably check my phone, Maya said nervously. See if Robert has tried to contact me. Robert, I am. Are you sure you want to do that? Daniel asked. It might be upsetting. I need to know, Maya said. She pulled her phone from her bathrobe pocket. Her hands were shaking as she unlocked it. Daniel watched as her face went pale. What is it? 17 missed calls, Maya whispered, and 32 text messages, all from Robert. What do they say? Daniel asked, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know. Maya scrolled through them, her expression changing from fear to something else. Disgust, maybe, or anger. They start with apologies, saying he's sorry, that he didn't mean it, that he loves me. Then they get angry, asking where I am, demanding I come home. Then they get mean, saying I'm being dramatic, that I'm overreacting, that I'm making a big deal out of nothing. Daniel moved closer. That's classic manipulation. First, they apologize to pull you back in. Then they get angry when that doesn't work. Then they try to make you doubt yourself. Maya looked up at him with tears in her eyes. How do you know so much about this? Daniel hesitated. He hadn't planned on sharing his own story, but maybe it would help. My older sister went through something similar. Not exactly the same, but close enough. I watched her struggle for years before she finally got out. I learned a lot from her experience. Did she? Is she okay now? Maya asked. She is, Daniel said with a small smile. It took time, and it wasn't easy, but she rebuilt her life. She's actually a counselor now, helping other people who go through the same thing. Hope flickered across Maya's face. Really? Do you think I could talk to her? I think she would love that, Daniel said. But let's take this one step at a time. First, Let's find you a safe place to stay. Then we can work on the rest. Maya nodded. But then her phone started ringing in her hand. Robert's name flashed on the screen. They both stared at it, frozen. Should I answer it? Maya asked. That's your choice, Daniel said carefully. But if you do, put it on speaker so I can hear too. You don't have to face this alone. Maya took a deep breath and answered the call, her finger hovering over the speaker button. Maya? Maya, where are you? Robert's voice came through, and Daniel could hear the panic mixed with anger. I've been worried sick. You just disappeared in the middle of the night. I'm safe, Maya said, her voice stronger than Daniel expected. That's all you need to know. Safe? What are you talking about? Come home right now. We need to talk about this, Robert demanded. No, Maya said simply. I'm not coming back. Not after what you did. There was silence on the other end. Then Robert's voice changed. It became softer, more pleading. Baby, I'm sorry. I had too much to drink. I wasn't myself. It will never happen again, I promise. Just come home, and we'll talk about it. Maya looked at Daniel, uncertainty in her eyes. This was the moment, he realized. The moment where she would either believe the promises or choose herself. I've heard that before, Robert, Maya said, and Daniel felt proud of her strength. Every time. You promise it won't happen again. But it does. It always does. And last night, you crossed a line you can't come back from. Robert's voice turned cold. You're being ridiculous. Where are you? Are you at a hotel? Because that's our money you're spending. Money I earned. That's exactly the problem, Maya said, her voice shaking now but determined. Everything is yours. The money, the apartment, even I became your property somehow. But I'm not. I'm a person, and I deserve better than this. You ungrateful. Robert started, but Maya hung up before he could finish. She dropped the phone on the counter like it had burned her and started crying. Daniel moved closer and offered her a tissue, maintaining a respectful distance but letting her know he was there. You did the right thing, he told her. That took real courage. I don't feel courageous, Maya sobbed. I feel terrified. What if he finds me? What if he makes good on his threats? That's why we're going to get you help today, Daniel said. Professional help from people who deal with this every day. You're not alone in this. Maya? Daniel grabbed his laptop and started searching for resources. He found several organizations in their city that specialized in helping people escape difficult situations. He wrote down phone numbers and addresses. Here, he said, showing Maya the screen. This place has a 24-hour hotline. They can give us advice on the next steps. Maya wiped her tears and looked at the information. Okay, she said. Let's call them. Daniel dialed the number and handed her the phone. As Maya began explaining her situation to the counselor on the other end, Daniel stepped back to give her some privacy. He looked out his living room window at the morning sun rising over the city. Everything had changed so quickly. Yesterday, at this time, he was just a guy, living a quiet life, going to work, coming home, watching TV. Now, he was involved in something much bigger, something that mattered. He heard Maya talking on the phone, her voice getting steadier as the counselor explained her options. Daniel knew that whatever happened next, his life had shifted in a fundamental way. And strangely, he didn't regret opening his door last night. Sometimes helping someone means stepping into their chaos, accepting the complications, and trusting that doing the right thing is worth the cost. Daniel was learning that lesson in real time. The counselor on the hotline had given Maya a lot of information. There was a shelter that could take her in immediately, but they had some strict rules. No contact with the person you were leaving, no sharing your location, and a commitment to working with their counselors on a safety plan. Maya hung up the phone and looked at Daniel with a mixture of relief and fear. They said they can help me. There's a bed available at the shelter, starting tonight. But Daniel, all my important documents are still in the apartment. My passport, my birth certificate, everything. Daniel had been thinking about this. We need to get those things, but we have to be smart about it. When does Robert usually leave for work? 9. He works the evening shift this week, Maya said. He leaves around 2 in the afternoon. Daniel checked his watch. It was just past 9 in the morning. Okay. So, we have time to plan this. But I don't think you should go alone. What if he decided to skip work today? What if he's waiting there for you? Round. Why? You would come with me? Maya asked, surprised. Of course, Daniel said. We'll be quick. In and out. Just grab what you absolutely need. Maya nodded, but Daniel could see she was still processing everything. The reality of leaving was setting in. This wasn't just about escaping one bad night. This was about dismantling an entire life and starting over from nothing. Can I ask you something? Maya said after a moment of silence. Why are you helping me? You barely know me. Most people would have closed the door last night. Daniel thought about that question. Why was he helping? It would have been easier to call the police and let them handle it. To keep himself separate from the situation. I guess because I know what it's like to feel alone, Daniel said honestly. When my sister was going through her situation, she said the hardest part wasn't the fear or the pain. It was feeling like nobody cared enough to help, like she was invisible. I don't want anyone to feel that way if I can help it. Maya's eyes filled with tears again. Thank you. That means more than you know. They spent the next few hours planning. Daniel made breakfast, simple toast and eggs, and they ate in silence mostly. Maya borrowed some of his clothes, a t-shirt and sweatpants that were way too big on her but at least better than wearing a bathrobe all day. Around noon, Daniel's phone rang. It was Carlos calling this time. Not just texting. Daniel considered ignoring it but knew his friend would just keep calling. Hey man. Daniel answered, trying to sound normal. Farm. Quote. Farm. What's going on? Carlos asked immediately. You never cancel breakfast. Are you sick? Or something? Something came up, Daniel said vaguely. A friend needed help with something. What kind of help? Carlos pressed. He had always been nosy, but he meant well. It's complicated, Daniel said. I'll explain later. You're being weird, Carlos said. No, everything's fine, Daniel lied. I just can't talk right now. Maya watched this exchange from the couch, and Daniel could see the guilt on her face. She was disrupting his life, and she knew it. After Daniel hung up, Maya spoke. Your friend sounds worried. Maybe you should tell him what's happening. You might need help. Daniel shook his head. Carlos is great, but he's also a bit intense. He'd want to get involved. And I think the fewer people who know where you are, the better. At least for now. Maya accepted this, but Daniel wondered if he was making the right choice. Having backup might be smart, especially if they were going to Maya's apartment to get her things. At 1:30, they decided it was time. Daniel drove Maya's car since she was too nervous to drive herself. She gave him directions to her apartment building, which was only about 3 miles away. They had been neighbors without really knowing each other, ships passing in the hallway, until crisis brought them together. The building looked ordinary from the outside. Red brick, 4 stories, small balconies with dead plants, and forgotten bicycles. Maya's apartment was on the 3rd floor. His car isn't here, Maya said, relief in her voice as they pulled into the parking lot. He must have gone to work. They took the stairs instead of the elevator, both of them too nervous to be trapped in a small space. Maya's hands shook as she unlocked the apartment door. Daniel stayed close behind her, ready for anything. The apartment was small, dimly lit, and there was still a beer bottle on the living room floor from the night before. Maya's eyes went to it, and Daniel saw her flinch. "Let's be quick," Daniel said quietly. Maya rushed to the bedroom and pulled out a small suitcase from under the bed. She started throwing clothes into it, not bothering to fold anything. Daniel stood by the door, keeping watch, his heart pounding. "The documents are in a box in the closet," Maya said, reaching up to the top shelf. She pulled down a metal box and tried to open it, but it was locked. No. 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 Robert must have taken the key. "Can we take the whole box?" Daniel asked. "I guess we'll have to," Maya said, tucking it under her arm. She grabbed a few more personal items. Some photos from before she was married, a necklace that had belonged to her mother, and a small stuffed animal that looked well-loved and very old. "Is that everything you need?" Daniel asked. "It's enough," Maya said. "Let's go." They were almost at the door when they heard footsteps in the hallway outside. Heavy footsteps. Then a key turning in the lock. Daniel and Maya froze. The door opened, and there stood Robert. He was a big man, taller than Daniel, with broad shoulders and hands that looked like they could do damage. His face was red, and his eyes went straight to Maya. "I knew you'd come back," Robert said, his voice dangerously calm. "I knew you couldn't stay away." "We're just leaving," Daniel said, trying to keep his voice steady. "We don't want any trouble." Robert's eyes shifted to Daniel, and there was pure hatred there. "Who the hell are you? Is this who you ran to? Are you cheating on me?" "No," Maya said quickly. "Daniel is just a friend. A neighbor. I'm getting my things, Robert. I'm leaving." "The hell you are," Robert said, taking a step into the apartment and closing the door behind him. "You're my wife. You don't get to just leave." Daniel positioned himself slightly in front of Maya. "She can leave whenever she wants. You can't force her to stay." Robert laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You think you're some kind of hero? Swooping in to save her? You have no idea what you're getting into." "Robert, please," Maya said, her voice shaking. "Just let us go. We'll talk later. With lawyers or counselors or whoever. But right now, I just need to leave. After everything I've done for you." Robert's voice was rising now. "I gave you a home. I took care of you. And this is how you repay me? By running off with some stranger? You hurt me," Maya said. And Daniel was proud of her for saying it out loud. "You hit me. You scared me. That's not love, Robert." "I said I was sorry," Robert shouted. "How many times do I have to apologize? You're being dramatic, making this into something it's not." Daniel pulled out his phone. "I'm calling the police if you don't let us leave right now." Robert moved fast, crossing the small living room and knocking the phone out of Daniel's hand. It clattered to the floor. "You're not calling anyone." Daniel's heart was racing, but he kept his cool. "That was a mistake. Now it's assault." Maya saw it. "You're just making this worse for yourself." Robert seemed to realize what he'd done. His anger flickered with uncertainty. He looked at Maya. "Baby, come on. Send this guy away, and we'll talk. Just you and me. Like we should have done in the first place." Maya shook her head. "I'm done talking, Robert. I'm done making excuses for you. I'm done being afraid in my own home." The apartment fell silent, except for the sound of someone's TV in the unit next door. Daniel could feel the tension like a physical thing, pressing down on all of them. "If you don't let us leave peacefully, I will start screaming," Daniel said quietly. "Your neighbors will hear. Someone will call the police. This can end one of two ways. You can let us walk out, or you can make this a bigger situation. Your choice." End quote. Robert looked between Daniel and Maya. For a long moment, Daniel thought he might actually attack them. But then, something in Robert's face crumbled. Maybe it was defeat, or maybe it was the realization that he'd already lost. "Fine," Robert said, stepping aside. "Go. But don't think this is over. You're still my wife. We're still married." "Not for long," Maya said quietly, and she walked past him toward the door. Daniel picked up his phone from the floor, grateful it wasn't broken, and followed Maya out. They didn't run, but they walked fast down the hallway and down the stairs. Daniel kept expecting to hear Robert following them, but he didn't. They got to the car, and Daniel drove away carefully, not speeding, not drawing attention. It was only when they were several blocks away that Maya started crying. Deep, shaking sobs that came from somewhere way down inside her. Daniel pulled over in a parking lot and let her cry. He didn't try to comfort her or tell her everything would be okay. He just let her feel what she needed to feel. After several minutes, Maya wiped her eyes. "I'm sorry. I'm a mess." "You're not a mess," Daniel said. "You're brave. What you just did back there, standing up to him, that took serious courage." "I was terrified," Maya admitted. "Courage isn't the absence of fear," Daniel said. "It's doing the right thing even when you're scared." Maya managed a small smile. "Your sister is lucky to have a brother like you. And you're going to be okay," Daniel said. "It might not feel like it right now, but you will be." They drove to the shelter, and Daniel walked Maya inside. The staff there were kind and professional. They took Maya's information and showed her where she'd be staying. It was a shared room, simple but clean, and most importantly, it was safe. "Thank you for everything," Maya said to Daniel at the entrance. "I literally couldn't have done this without you." Maya. "You could have," Daniel said, "but I'm glad I could help. Do you have my number?" Maya nodded. "I do. I'll call you once I get settled and figure out next steps." Daniel wanted to hug her but wasn't sure if that would be appropriate. Instead, he just gave her a warm smile. "Take care of yourself, Maya. You deserve good things." As Daniel drove home, he felt exhausted but also strangely alive. His apartment would feel empty now without Maya there, but he knew she was where she needed to be. The hard part was just beginning for her, the legal battles and the emotional recovery, but at least she had taken the first step. And sometimes, that's all anyone can do. Take one step, then another, and trust that the path will become clearer as you walk it. 3 days passed before Daniel heard from Maya. 3 days where he went to work, came home, and found himself constantly checking his phone. He wondered if she was okay, if Robert had tried to contact her, if the shelter was working out. When his phone finally rang with Maya's number, he answered immediately. "Maya? How are you?" "I'm okay," she said, and she sounded more stable than she had at his apartment. "Sorry I didn't call sooner. They keep us pretty busy here with counseling sessions and legal workshops. But I wanted to update you on what's been happening." Daniel sat down on his couch. "I'm glad to hear from you. Tell me everything." Maya explained that the shelter had connected her with a lawyer who was willing to take her case for free. They were starting the process of filing for divorce and requesting a restraining order against Robert. She had also managed to call her sister across the country, and they had a long, tearful conversation. "She's sending me money for a bus ticket," Maya said. "She wants me to come stay with her while I figure things out. I have an aunt there too, apparently. Family I haven't seen in years." "That's wonderful," Daniel said, genuinely happy for her. "When will you leave?" "End of the week," Maya said. "The lawyer said she can handle most of the legal stuff remotely once I'm gone. And honestly, I think getting out of this city will be good for me. Too many memories here." Daniel understood that completely. Sometimes, you need physical distance to start emotional healing. "Will you be safe traveling?" "What if Robert tries to stop you?" "The shelter is coordinating it," Maya explained. "They have volunteers who help people relocate safely. Someone will drive me to the bus station and make sure I get on the bus okay. They do this kind of thing all the time. They talked for a while longer, and before hanging up, Maya made Daniel promise to meet her one more time before she left. She wanted to thank him properly and say goodbye. 2 days later, they met at a small coffee shop across town, far from both their neighborhoods. She had her hair pulled back, was wearing new clothes that the shelter had provided, and there was something different in her eyes. A spark of hope, maybe, or determination. "You look good," Daniel said, as they sat down with their coffee. "I feel different," Maya said. "Clearer somehow. The counselors here have been amazing. They helped me see patterns I was blind to before. How the control started small and grew over time. How I adjusted my behavior to avoid setting him off. I didn't even realize I was doing it." Daniel listened as Maya talked about her sessions, her plans for the future, and her fears about starting over. She was scared, but also excited. Her sister had already helped her apply for jobs remotely. And there was a possibility she could start working at a local bookstore once she arrived. "I've always loved books," Maya said with a genuine smile. "Used to read all the time before I got married. Robert thought it was a waste of time. Said I should be doing more productive things. Oh. Bert. Oh, Bert." Another small way he had diminished her, Daniel thought. Death by 1,000 small cuts. "You're going to do great," Daniel told her. "This is your chance to become whoever you want to be." Maya reached across the table and squeezed his hand. "I'll never forget what you did for me. You gave me a safe place when I had nowhere to go. You helped me see that I deserved better." "That's not a small thing, Daniel." Daniel felt his throat tighten with emotion. "I'm just glad I could help." They talked for another hour, carefully avoiding any mention of Robert, or the apartment, or that night. Instead, they talked about hopes and dreams, about the future Maya was building in her mind, about the person she wanted to become. When it was time to say goodbye, they stood in the parking lot, and Maya did hug him this time. It was brief, but genuine. "Stay safe," Daniel said. "And call me when you get to your sister's place. Let me know you arrived okay." "See, Relman." "I will," Maya promised. "Take care of yourself, Daniel. And thank you again, for everything." Daniel watched her walk away to where her shelter volunteer was waiting in a car. She turned back once to wave, and then she was gone. Driving home, Daniel felt a strange mix of sadness and satisfaction. Sad that their friendship had been so brief, formed in crisis and ending in goodbye. But satisfied that he had made a difference, that he had helped someone when they needed it most. When he got home, he found Carlos sitting on the steps outside his apartment building. "We need to talk," Carlos said, standing up. "You've been avoiding me for days, and I want to know what's going on." Daniel sighed. He supposed he owed his best friend an explanation. "Come on up. I'll make coffee and tell you everything." Inside the apartment, Daniel told Carlos the whole story. How Maya had shown up at his door, the bruises, the confrontation with Robert, helping her get to the shelter. Carlos listened without interrupting, his expression shifting from surprise to concern to something like pride. "Man," Carlos said when Daniel finished. "That's intense. Why didn't you call me? I could have helped." "I know," Daniel said. "But it all happened so fast. And Maya was scared. The fewer people involved, the better." Carlos nodded, accepting this. "Still, you could have been hurt. What if that guy Robert had really lost it?" "I know it was risky," Daniel admitted. "But what was I supposed to do? Turn her away?" "No," Carlos said firmly. "You did the right thing. Absolutely the right thing. I'm proud of you, man." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, drinking their coffee. "So is that it?" Carlos asked. "She's gone now and you just go back to normal life?" "I guess so," Daniel said. "Though I'm not sure what normal looks like anymore." What Daniel didn't say was that the experience had changed something in him, He had always been a good person, helpful when asked, but somewhat passive in his own life. This had shown him that he was capable of more than he thought, that he could handle crisis, could make difficult decisions, could be someone's lifeline when they needed it. Over the next few weeks, Maya called a few times to update Daniel on her progress. She had made it safely to her sister's place. She had started working at the bookstore. The divorce was moving forward. Robert had tried to contest it at first, but eventually gave up when his lawyer explained how bad it would look in court given everything that had happened. The calls became less frequent over time, which was natural. They had been connected by circumstance, and now that the crisis had passed, they were simply two people who once helped each other. Maya was building a new life, and Daniel was happy for her. One day, about 2 months after Maya had left, Daniel got a message from an unknown number. It was a photo of Maya standing in front of a bookstore, smiling genuinely, holding a coffee cup, and looking peaceful. The caption read, "Starting over. Thank you for giving me the courage. I hope life is treating you well. I hope." 17. Daniel smiled and saved the photo. He typed back, "You found the courage yourself. I just held the door open. Proud of you." And that was enough. Not every story needs constant contact or lasting friendship. Sometimes people come into your life for a season, for a reason, and that's enough. Maya had needed help, and Daniel had been there. She was safe now, building a life on her own terms, and that was all that mattered. Daniel went on with his life too, but he was different now, more aware of the people around him, more willing to step in when someone needed help, more confident in his ability to handle difficult situations. Sometimes he would see Robert in the neighborhood. They never spoke, but Robert always looked away first. Daniel heard through the building grapevine that Robert had moved out a month after Maya left. Good, Daniel thought. Fresh starts for everyone. Life moved on, as it always does. But some experiences mark you, change you, in fundamental ways. For Daniel, those few days with Maya had been that kind of experience. A reminder that courage comes in many forms, that helping someone can be risky but worth it, and that sometimes the most important thing you can do is simply be there when someone needs you. 6 months had passed since Maya left. Daniel had fallen back into his routine, work and home, the occasional drink with Carlos, weekend errands, and lazy Sundays. Life was normal again, quiet again, but Daniel found himself thinking about those few intense days more often than he expected. He had learned something important about himself during that time. He was stronger than he thought, more capable of handling crisis, more willing to step outside his comfort zone when it mattered. These weren't small revelations. One Saturday afternoon, Daniel was at the grocery store when he noticed a woman with 2 young children. She was at the checkout, and her card was being declined. The kids were getting restless, and the woman was clearly embarrassed, trying to decide which items to put back. Old Daniel might have looked away, minded his own business, but something had shifted in him. "Hey," Daniel said, stepping forward. "Let me get this. Please." The woman looked at him with surprise and gratitude. "Oh, I couldn't. It's too much." "It's not a problem," Daniel said, already handing his card to the cashier. "We all need help sometimes." The woman's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you. I just started a new job, and the first paycheck doesn't come until next week. I didn't know how we'd manage." Daniel smiled. "No explanation needed. Take care of yourself and your kids." As he walked to his car, Daniel felt good. But because he had learned that small acts of kindness matter, that helping people, even strangers, was worth doing. Later that evening, Daniel got a video call request from Maya. He hadn't heard from her in about a month, so he was curious. When he answered, he saw that she was outside somewhere, bundled up in a winter coat, with snow falling behind her. "Daniel." "Hi." Maya's face was bright, her smile genuine. "I'm sorry to call out of nowhere, but I had to share some news with you." "Everything okay?" Daniel asked, leaning back on his couch. "Better than okay," Maya said excitedly. "I got accepted to community college. I start classes next month. I'm going to study to become a social worker. I want to help other people, like the counselors helped me." Daniel felt his chest swell with pride. "Maya, that's incredible. I'm so happy for you." "Well, and there's more," she continued. "My divorce was finalized last week. It's official. I'm free." "That's amazing," Daniel said. "How do you feel?" "Honestly, relieved, hopeful, a little scared about the future, but in a good way. Like anything is possible now." They talked for a while longer. Maya told him about her job at the bookstore, about reconnecting with her aunt, about making new friends and building a support system. She talked about therapy and healing and discovering who she was outside of being someone's wife. "I owe so much of this to you," Maya said at one point. "You were the first person who made me feel like I mattered, like my safety and well-being were important." "You always mattered," Daniel said gently. "I just helped you see it." After they hung up, Daniel sat in his apartment, feeling grateful. Not just for how things had turned out for Maya, but for how the experience had changed him. He was more aware now, more engaged with the world around him, more willing to act when he saw someone struggling. A few weeks later, Daniel was leaving for work when he heard raised voices from the apartment down the hall. A man shouting, a woman's voice pleading. Daniel paused, his hand on the stairwell door. This was different from his situation with Maya. He didn't know these neighbors well. It could be a regular argument, nothing serious, or it could be something worse. Daniel thought about walking away, about minding his own business. But then he remembered Maya's face that night. She showed up at his door. He remembered her bruises, her fear, her courage to ask for help. He pulled out his phone and called the building manager. "Hey, it's Daniel in 3B. I'm hearing what sounds like a serious argument in one of the units on my floor. Might want to do a wellness check." The manager thanked him and said she'd send security up to check on things. Daniel waited in the stairwell until he saw the security guard arrive. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe it would embarrass the neighbors. But maybe, just maybe, it would help someone who needed it. That night, there was a knock on Daniel's door. When he opened it, he found a woman standing there. She was younger, maybe mid-20s, and she looked nervous. "Hi," she said quietly. "I'm from 3F. I heard you called the building manager today about the noise." Daniel's stomach dropped. Was she angry? "I'm sorry if I overstepped. I just wanted to make sure everyone was okay." "No," she said quickly. "Don't apologize. I wanted to thank you. My boyfriend and I were having a really bad fight. Things were getting out of hand. When security showed up, it kind of shocked us both out of it. We've been having problems for a while, and today made us both realize we need help. We're going to try couples counseling." Daniel nodded. "I'm glad everyone's okay, and I hope the counseling helps." "Me too," she said, "but I wanted you to know that what you did mattered. You didn't ignore it. That says something about who you are." After she left, Daniel closed his door and thought about the strange chain of events that had started 6 months ago. One person's courage to ask for help, his decision to respond, and now a growing awareness that people need to look out for each other. Carlos came over that weekend with pizza and beer, and they watched a game together. During halftime, Carlos turned to Daniel. "You've been different lately," Carlos observed. "In a good way. More engaged, I guess." "Different how?" Daniel asked. "I don't know exactly," Carlos said. "You seem more present, more purposeful. Like you're not just going through the motions of life anymore." Daniel thought about that. Maybe that whole thing with Maya woke me up a bit, made me realize that life is short and people need help, and sitting on the sidelines isn't really an option. Carlos nodded. It's good. Whatever it is, it's good. That night, after Carlos left, Daniel stood on his small balcony, looking out at the city. Somewhere out there, Maya was studying for her classes, building a new life, helping others because someone once helped her. Somewhere out there, countless other people were struggling, needing help, hoping someone would notice and care. Daniel couldn't help everyone. He couldn't fix all the problems in the world, but he could pay attention. He could show up when it mattered. He could be the kind of person who opened the door instead of pretending not to hear the knock. His phone buzzed with a message from Maya. Just a simple text. Aced my first exam. Thanks for believing in me. 1. 9 would have C. 1 betera. 1 betera. Daniel smiled and typed back, You did that all on yourself. Proud of you. And he meant it. Maya had done the hard work of rebuilding her life, of facing her fears, of choosing herself over comfort and familiarity. Daniel had just been there at the right moment, a bridge between her old life and her new one. But that's what people do for each other, isn't it? We're all just bridges sometimes, helping each other cross from one place to another. And if we're lucky, we get to see the other side, see the person we helped flourish and grow and become who they were always meant to be. Daniel went back inside, closed the balcony door, and settled in for the night. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities to show up for people, new chances to make a difference. He thought about the girl from 3F and her boyfriend trying counseling. He thought about the woman at the grocery store and her kids. He thought about his sister and her journey, about Carlos and their friendship, about all the ways people's lives intersect and impact each other. Life wasn't always dramatic. Most days were ordinary, filled with small moments and quiet decisions. But sometimes, those small moments added up to something bigger. A pattern of caring, of showing up, of choosing to help instead of looking away. Daniel's apartment was quiet now, peaceful. No one would show up at his door tonight needing rescue. There would be no crisis to manage, no difficult decisions to make. Just an ordinary evening in an ordinary life. But Daniel had learned that ordinary lives could hold extraordinary moments, that quiet people could find unexpected courage, that opening your door to someone in need could change both of your lives in ways you never imagined. As he got ready for bed, Daniel felt grateful. Not for the drama or the difficulty, but for the reminder that life is lived in how we treat each other. In the moments we choose kindness over convenience, courage over comfort, connection over isolation, Maya was building a new life. Daniel was living his life with new awareness. And somewhere, someone else was finding the courage to ask for help, trusting that someone would answer. Although seeding, lever-leaning see, that's how healing spreads, Daniel thought. One person at a time, one choice at a time, one open door at a time. And that was enough.